Hello guys, Absolute Duelist here, coming at you with my second place locals Phantom Knight deck profile. Yes, it has been a long time, but Phantom Knights are back on the channel. Now, obviously, it has been a long time since I've properly shown Phantom Knights, and guess what? They're good again. Bestials have taken a step back. They're only being really played in branded and to a very minuscule amount. So that means that PK has a chance to return into the game, and it's basically not really any different from what I used to do with the deck. Like, you're still able to do everything you're able to do with the deck. You're able to make Ophion, you're able to use the adventure package, you're able to do everything that you're able to do, and the deck is just still as good as it used to be, seeing as it's got a great matchup against, well, the branded matchup, which is possibly the best deck in the game right now. It's got a great matchup against Kashtira because it's able to use Ophion against it, and then they just can't play the game. Yes, they do have a Macrocosmos, but hey, we can still play around that, we can imperm it, and then we can play the game from there. And we can do so much with this deck still that it really is cool. And being able to come second with it at locals was really good feeling, seeing it's been a while since I played this deck. So yeah guys, I played this at locals. It was really cool. Sadly didn't go up against any Kashtira players though, but as I said, we can go ahead and beat them. But we did play against a couple of decks. We played against Labyrinth, 2 branded players. We did lose to one of them. We bricked both games, sadly not opening any way to play the game. Kind of unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. And we also played against a Sword Soul player, and there was one other which just escapes my mind. We played against Labyrinth, 2 branded, Sword Soul, and a Dark World player actually. Yeah, he even hand looped me for 4, and I was still able to play the game and just kill him on the same turn. So guys, this deck is really cool. Let's go ahead and show you it, because I want to show you guys the PK of today. And yeah, Phantom Knights, they're really cool. They're still really strong, and don't look down on this deck, guys. It's still a really good deck. So let's go ahead and get into the profile and just show you what the deck's capable of, shall we? So starting off, for the PK cards, we're still playing the free Torn Scale. He is a starter card, he is an extender card, he is a summon himself back from the graveyard card. Absolutely insane, really strong. You barely ever use him on his normal summon though, because normally when you're normal summoning him, you're going to go ahead and special summon another level 3, go into your Cherubini, then go ahead and utilize the adventure package so you don't get to use the normal summon effect. But the fact that you can go ahead and dump any Phantom Knight card in your hand and also Phantom Knight cards in your deck just allows you to utilize all your PK cards very easily and gives you more extension. It's honestly just an insane card and really is good in this deck, being able to just summon itself whenever you banish a PK card. Next we play Free Boots. You want to be playing Free Boots. He is a mandatory free of in this deck. Being able to just special summon him when you control any PK and then go to Cherubini is very important, and your level 3 extenders in this deck are mandatory. You need as many as you can fit into the deck, and this is a 40 card list guys, so it can be a bit tight, but we play 3 of him. He is very strong, and he can even go ahead and banish himself to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap card. So card is great. You want to be playing him at 3. Next we play 2 Cloak. I don't want to play him at more than 2. I don't want to play him at 1. 1 is not enough, 3 is too much, 2 is just right. You want to go ahead and place him in the graveyard, use him to search other Phantom Knight cards such as Boots or Sculling Greaves, and you also go ahead and summon him back with Levianair at times, so you don't really feel like you need more of him. He is 2 of, he is perfect as a 2 of, he is honestly, you don't need more of him, and he can search any Phantom Knight monster, so it is important to play at least 2 of him. But you don't really want him in your opening hand. You don't want to be able to have him in your opening hand because you want to be able to have extenders in your hand. You want to have cards that get you to more Phantom Knights, get you to more level 3s on the board. And if this card was normal summon search, you would play as many of him as possible. But because he's in the graveyard, banish and search, he doesn't really extend your plays unless you've got a way to discard him or you've got a way to essentially put him in the graveyard. Like, you need this card in the graveyard more than you need him in the hand. So 2 is enough. And we do normally discard him with like the adventure package and also Torn Scales, so it does come up with things like that, but 2 is more than enough. Next, we also play 1 Ragged Gloves. You do not need more than him. He is basically the same concept as Phantom Knight's Cloak, but this is a one-off because this one doesn't add stuff to hand, it sends stuff to grave. If he could add stuff to hand, maybe more of him, but because he doesn't, you want him at 1, he just goes ahead and dumps trap cards normally to go ahead and banish them, especially on more PKs, and he also comes up at times where you go ahead and use him as Xyz material to go ahead and boost your monsters by 1,000 attack points. And then the last Phantom Knight monster we play is 1 Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves. He is essentially a 4th Boots, where if we've already used Boots in the turn, and we've got our Cloak and our Torn Scale in the graveyard, we go ahead and banish Cloak, special Torn Scale, and then we go ahead and special Greaves because of Cloak effect to add the Greaves to hand, and when this special summons, this can special summon itself because whenever a Phantom Knight is special summoned, he special summons himself from the hand. Also, his graveyard effect does come up at times where you can go ahead and banish him to special summon a Phantom Knight from your hand for additional extension, but that isn't very often. But he's only a one-of, you don't want to be playing more of him. That's all the PK cards. Now, this is the best ratio, I think, of PK monsters. You do not need to change this ratio whatsoever, so keep it as it is. Next, going on to the adventure monsters in the main deck, we're playing the free Enchantress. Absolutely insane card. She's level 3, so you can use her to make Cherubini if you control an adventure token, and you can also banish her from your hand or graveyard to go ahead and search Rite of Aramasir, just getting you to your entire adventure package and allowing you to play the game. And along with her, we played the 1 Griffin Rider, which is the card that basically helps us play around Nibiru, allows us to play around things that we need to negate. Like, Wandering Griffin Rider is one of the reasons why this deck is so nice, just because you've got a level 3 package, and on top of that, you get an Omni Negate to stop your opponent from playing the game. And normally when you end on the board with Ophion, a Pop, 2 Fogblade, and everything else you can potentially make with this deck, and a Griffin Rider, you're normally going to win that game because they can't play the game at that point, and you're going to stop everything they can potentially do. So you play the Griffin Rider, it is absolutely essential in the deck, so you play out 1. That's the adventure monsters. Going on to other level 3s though, we play 1 Psychic Wielder and 1 Psychic Tracker. You don't play more of these. These are one-offs. You summon them off of Emergency Teleport, and they're also a free extension where if you control level 3, you can special summon them from the hand. So it just helps you make Cherubini, and Cherubini is a very essential combo starter, so you do want to be playing these in the deck to get to your Cherubini, or to rank 3 plays at times as well. And then the last actual real monsters in the deck, we play 1 Graph and 1 Seer. This is pretty much, you've opened a hand where you can't go very far in the deck, so you go ahead and use Cherubini to send the Graph to the grave, and then Graph summons Seer, and then you can go ahead and make your Rusty Bardiche. This is standard in the deck, you play 1 of each. This is the worst card you can draw in the deck. It's literally the biggest brick in your entire deck. If you draw the Graph, it doesn't hurt too much because you can go ahead and discard it and then summon Seer later on when you have Cherubini, but just try not to draw Seer. It really does hurt when you draw the Seer, and it hurts so much at times. But when you don't, it's insane, it's amazing, and you love it. And then just hand trap monsters in the deck, we play 3 Ash Blossom. It's FTK against Branded. It can go ahead and stop a lot of rogue strategies. Just a really good card, and yeah, you don't want to change that out for anything. Going on to spells, we play 3 Rite of Aramasir along with the Faithful Adventure. Very simple. Rite of Aramasir puts a token on the board and then places Faithful Adventure in your Spell and Trap God zone. And Faithful Adventure goes ahead and adds your Griffin Rider, goes ahead and adds your Enchantress, and also Dracoback Rider, which is very important as well. So we play this entire engine with the 1 Dracoback Rider as well. This is all very standard when you're playing the adventure package. You want to be playing 3 Rite, 1 Faithful, 1 Dracoback Rider, because it's literally just the standard package where you go ahead and have the 3 Rite of Aramasir to go ahead and put your tokens on the board, get you searches, get you an Omni Gate. Then you have the Dracoback Rider where later on in the turns you can go ahead and activate it, put on the token, and then just go ahead and have ways to compose stuff like Floodgates, boss monsters, anything that's an issue to you. It's very good and very, very strong. Then this is something that I'll probably change out, but Forbidden Droplets are free. Now, don't get me wrong, this card is very, very strong, but I don't think it's great this format. I was playing it at locals, every time I had it, it didn't really do a lot, and it's an insane card, don't get me wrong, being able to just interact with your opponents, send Phantom Knights to the graveyard, just be unnegatable, it's great. But the issue with this card is it doesn't really do anything on turn 1 if you're going second and your opponent's playing things that can just play around it. Like, I was playing this card and I really felt like, yes, this is a strong card, it does a lot, it can help a lot, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's as good as it used to be. I think I'm probably going to cut it for Nibiru's in the main deck. It is very nice, but it's something that I've kind of decided, and after testing and playing at locals and playing it online, it's something that I've decided just to be like, yeah, we're going to put Nibiru's in. It will help us get through the Kashtira board because this card can't be used where they have the Arise Heart. It's going to help us get through a lot of other stuff. Nibiru is great this format, and hell, even branded players don't respect the Nibiru right now, where they're going to be summoning way more than 5 times a lot of the time, being able to use their Lubellions, their Branded Fusion, and all this other stuff. So I think I'd play Nibiru over this card. I do think it's a strong card. It's great against rogue strategies and it can help you get over big monsters, but just out of testing and realizing against Kashtira it's not great, I'm probably going to put it in for free Nibiru. So this should be free Nibiru, but it was alright. The few times I activated it did help, and the one time it kind of did lose me a game because I played it a bit wrong. I ended up discarding my entire hand against a branded player, and normally that would work, but they had a Merc Courier, so they're able to negate my Torn Scale, and then I just wasn't able to do anything. So it was upsetting, but yeah, these are probably going to turn into Nibirus. Then we also play 2 Emergency Teleport, 2 Psychics, 2 Emergency Teleport. I think this is the perfect ratio. Again, like, you don't need more of it, you don't need less of it. You just want to be able to see it, and it just helps with level 3 extension. 1 Reinforcements of the Army, 1 Foolish Burial. These are very standard one-offs in a Phantom Knight deck. This essentially does the same thing as this, where this can go ahead and drop a cloak into the grave to go ahead and search any Phantom Knight, and this goes ahead and searches any warrior in the deck, i.e. searches any Phantom Knight monster in the entire deck. Like, you can search your Torn Scale, you can search your boots, you can search literally anything to help you play the game. So you want to be playing both of these in the deck. They are standard, they are mandatory, they are just really, really strong. And then the last spell, 1 Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch. This is how you get into Ophion. You go ahead and target your Breaksword that has no materials, and then you turn it into an Ophion when your opponent activates Branded Fusion, or goes ahead and attempts to summon anything really that's level 5 or higher Viren effect. Like, you can use this against Sword Soul, you can use this against so many decks that it's really not even funny at times, where Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch just really is insane. And it also has a second effect where if you've got no monsters and you've got a Phantom Knight in hand, you can go ahead and banish it and special summon a Breaksword from the grave, but I don't think I ever use that effect. It just doesn't come up most of the time. So yeah, card is absolutely insane. You need it in the deck. It is literally part of the combo to go into Ophion, and is vital to be able to make Ophion. And then finally, for trap cards, we're playing 3 Infinite Impermanence because it's imperm, it helps us get rid of the Arise Heart, it helps us deal with anything on our opponent's turn. The card is really good, really strong, and it doesn't trigger the TTTs, so Tactics or Thrust. So yeah, it's just a really, really good trap card. And then finally, we play 2 Fogblade and 1 Wings. Essentially, you want to play this ratio because you've got 2 Fogblade, 1 to set, 1 to banish to Monster Reborn, and then you've got the Wings that is literally only there to put in the graveyard and then Monster Reborn any of your Phantom Knight monsters. Like, honestly, this is the perfect ratio I've found. Like, you could easily put in a 3rd Fogblade as well if you really did want, but in my opinion, I like this ratio the best because, well, you've got the 2 Fogblade, it's basically imperm, it can go ahead and stop your opponent from attacking you, it can go ahead and stop your opponent from attacking with monsters, and also it's just a Monster Reborn. Like, these are perfect in the deck, and I do think that's the perfect ratio for those. So, main deck, yeah, only thing I would honestly change in this is probably change the droplets for Nibirus, but I really do like how this deck is playing, and I do like how it's going. So yeah, if there's anything you want to change in it, tell me in the comments. But right now, this is the very close to the perfect list I had back at Nats. There's only really one change where I put a 3rd Imperm in over a Called by the Grave, because there isn't really a lot of hand traps right now that stop us. So yeah, like, I just generally think that is really, really decent. But going on to the extra deck, guys, we play 1 Cherubini. There's been builds where I've been messing around with playing like 2 of it, because obviously if we do go second, our opponent can just go ahead and Mind Hacker and remove it from the extra deck. But 1 right now is fine. If our opponent does remove it, it does suck, but we can play through it, we can do things. So it's not the end of the world, but I have been experimenting playing 2 Wolves in extra deck, and it does take up a lot of space, but it is plausible, and I might try that build at locals at some point. I just need to pick up a 2nd Cherubini. Probably a secret rare to rarity bump this deck. 1 Dark Charmer, because it goes ahead and summons any dark from the opponent's graveyard. It's a link 2 that you can go ahead and use your dark monsters and any monster you have on the field to go ahead and into it. It's just a really, really strong card. 1 Rusty Bard Each. It's literally the heart and soul of the deck at times, where it goes ahead and puts Phantom Knights in the graveyard, sets your Fogblade, sets your Rank Up Magic spell. It's just a really, really good card, and it also gives you a pop on your opponent's turn when you're summoning your Breaksword back to go into Ophion. 1 Nightmare Unicorn. It's removal, it's just strong. There's no real reason to explain this too much, because it's just Nightmare Unicorn. It's a good card. 1 Access Code Talker. It removes things, it helps us OTK. Card is very, very good. Double Legionnaire. You need this for the combo where you go ahead and make your Utopic Future package. So you play 2 of this specifically to do that, and also be able to get you the additional monster to go into your Rusty Bard Each at times. 2 break sword, mandatory 2 of as well, guys. You need this for 1 to go ahead and pop itself, to go ahead and summon 2 Phantom Knight backs, and then go ahead and make Oath later on, and 2 for board clearance later on in the game. He is very important. Play 2 of this. Do not play 1. He is needed at 2. Then we also play the Rank Up Magic package, which was the Future Draco package, where we go ahead and use 2 Xyz monsters to make the Future Draco, and then we rank it up into our Future Utopic Future Draco, which allows us to go ahead and get a monster negate and steal our opponent's monsters. If I'm going into 2 orbs in the extra deck, I do actually cut this package because it does take a lot. But honestly, this package is really, really strong, guys, and you shouldn't doubt it whatsoever. And then for rank 4s, we play 1-time Thief Redoer. You could change this out for Evil Swarm Nightmare, because there's been things that I've been testing where you go ahead and use Nightmare, you summon it against Kashtira players, you go ahead and set their first special summon. It is really, really strong. I just like Time Thief Redoer, being able to get multiple effects, give you more draws. It's things I'm testing. This is just what I was playing at the tournament, and it works. It is very, very strong, and yeah, we're in a trap-based format as well to an extent, where people are playing Labyrinth, so it does technically have more spice and power there as well. Then we also play the 1 Ophion, absolutely insane card. Being able to just go ahead and say your opponent cast some level 5s or higher is absolutely insane, and it really does work and is really powerful. Then the last 2 Xyz monsters is 1 Downward, which is the last rank 4, to go with our Zeus to go ahead and have double board wipe. This is very important as well, guys. You need Zeus in your extra deck, especially when your opponent has like big boards that you can't destroy. So you just go ahead and attack their Kashtira Xyz monster that's in defense mode, make the Zeus, and then clear their entire board. So yeah. Honestly, extra deck I feel is very, very good. Only things you could probably change is put the second Zeus in and put the second Cherubini in by taking out the Draco package. That is really the only thing you could change here in terms of what I've been working on, because you sometimes do need the second extra deck monsters and it can come up, but it's fine as it is right now. Now, going on to the side deck, the deck things that we change into, this is just a work in progress because obviously we're in an entirely new format and I wanted to test some new things. We are starting off with 1 Barbar. This is the time of the round card. I don't need to go too much into why we play a Barbar, right? It's just time of the round win. But continuing on, we play 2 Chaos Hunter. This is something that I think is actually really strong in this format in any deck that isn't Kashtira. If you're going second against Kashtira, you drop this, your opponent can't banish cards, so they essentially have to pass. But and a good thing about this card outside of that is that it also discards the card, so you can discard like a Phantom Knight or a Water Enchantress, putting in the graveyard and essentially losing nothing as well. So it's pretty much there just for banishing cards that say, oh, your opponent's going to banish your stuff. Nah, they're not going to touch me. So we play 2 Chaos Hunter for that. I do like the card. It didn't really go in because obviously I didn't play against Kashtira, but the card is really good and I think it's really strong, like especially this format. Continuing on though, we play 3 Nibiru. Obviously I said I'm going to put this in the main deck. It's an insane card against Kashtira. It's a insane card against a lot of different decks. It's just a literal board wipe. There's no reason not to play it. 1 Change of Heart and 2 Tactical Talents. Now, people might be saying, why not 3 Tactical Talents? Well, I only play this card because of Kashtira. The whole mindset behind playing Double Tack and Change of Hearts is that I want to steal my opponent's Kashtira monster, the one that basically macros the board and has a ton of materials under it, and go ahead and just wipe the board with it. I'm going to attack into their Kashtira Shangri-La. I'm going to go ahead and use that then Arise Harp to make Zeus, and then I'm going to clear their board as many times as I want. Like, if there's like 6+ materials on that Arise Harp, I'm getting rid of that board at least 4 times. Like, honestly, I feel like this is the correct ratio in terms of this. You could definitely play more Tactical Talents. I just like it at 2 because I feel like 3 is enough for a card in the extra deck. And essentially, for me, this is just 3 Change of Heart. But that's just what I kind of feel like it needs to be in the side deck right now along those lines. Then we obviously play 3 Lightning Storm as well. This is back row removal. Labyrinth are a very relevant deck in the game right now, so I wanted Lightning Storms and they worked against the Labyrinth player I played against. And then finally 3 Evenly Matched. How can I not say no to this card? Like, honestly, this is good against Kashtira, it's good against Branded, it's good against any Labyrinth deck, it's good against any deck that literally puts more than 2 cards on the board. Like, legit, it's just a great card to remove the board, and it really does put you in the game. So honestly, just an insanely good going second card. I could even main this card technically if I go second. It's just a great removal in general, but we're not going to do that. It's a side deck card, so yeah. But yeah, that's all I really have for this video, guys. Like, this is the deck that I came second up with locals. It's a really strong deck. Will I keep playing it at locals? Only time will tell. I have technically picked up Kashtira as well, so we'll see what happens going forward with that. Like, I want to test it. I've been trying it again, and I am kind of liking it. Like, I'm figuring out what I want to play in the game right now, because I'm not too sure. Like, I've gone back to this purely because I think it is a really good deck. I think it's a really strong deck, and especially if you go first, just summon Ophion against Kashtira, Branded, any of these decks, you're 9 times out of 10 going to win, as long as the Branded player doesn't have a Bestial in hand to interrupt your combo. But yeah, that is really what I have to say, guys. Like, this is the deck profile, this is the deck. It's a really, really cool deck, a really, really strong deck. And yeah, I hope you did enjoy, guys, because honestly, I love this deck. It's definitely one of my favorite decks of all time, and I hope you did enjoy, guys. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the deck profile, and I will see you guys in the next one. Absolute Duelist signing out. Try PKs out, guys. It is a lot of fun, and it is a really, really good deck. So later all, Absolute Duelist signing out.